This is a tutorial on how to run the first floor TV and entertainment center at Shutters by the Sea. I'm sorry, it's kind of gotten complicated in the last year or so since we've added more devices, and I think the easiest way to do it and show everyone is just making a tutorial. So here we go. First off, there are two things you need to know about this TV. It gets its video source from three different places. Either first, the cable box, which is right here, and that's on HDMI 1. I'm not sure if you can see the focus on that. The DVD player, which is right here, that's on HDMI 2. And then the TV also is a smart TV, so internally it can look at the internet, and that way you can get Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime and all those kinds of things. So the other thing that you need to know about is all sound comes through this sound bar at the bottom. No sound actually comes out of the TV. I have programmed it to turn off the speakers because when the sound bar and the TV speakers are on at the same time, it just sounds funky. You get a weird phasey noise and a little bit of a delay. And the sound bar sounds much, much better than the TV. So if you're not getting sound on the TV, the first thing you need to do is look at the sound bar and make sure that you've got power on there. It might have gotten out of sequence with the TV. So in other words, when you're powering on the TV, you're powering off the sound bar. So I'll explain that in more detail later. Let's get into the four remotes. Sadly, there have to be four remotes, and mostly you're only going to need this one here, the larger one, and you'll see that it says MediaCom on it right there. That is the cable box remote. Next up is the TV remote. Also, all the TVs in the house are Samsung, and on this unit here, all of the DVD is a Samsung, the sound bar is a Samsung, and also I have at home the same TVs. So if you have any problems, you can just call me at home and I'll try and walk you through it. So let's go through the process of just watching TV. Mostly you're only going to need the MediaCom remote. One thing to look at is right now you'll see that we've got a red light on the cable box. That means it's not on. The other thing to look at is the infrared sensor on the TV is kind of below the TV, and now that the sound bar is there, it kind of blocks the signal to get to the infrared. So when you're sitting on the sofa or in the chair, you may need to raise your hand up with the remote. And in this case, I'm going to for sure have to raise my hand up with the remote. So let's just power on the TV. The first thing I'm going to do, if you look at this remote, here, let me put it down here so you can see it. So there are two power on buttons here. One for cable, which is to the right, and one for TV, which is to the left. And you're going to need to power on both of those. So let's power on the cable box here. I'm going to do that. And you'll notice that, whoops, now the cable box is green, so it's powered on. I'm going to power on the TV, and you'll notice two things on the TV. One, there's a little bit of a lag between when you hit the button and it actually comes up, and you'll get the welcome screen. And you'll also see on the sound bar over here on the side, you'll see that come up too, because as I said before, I've got them programmed so they're on the same infrared. So I'm going to press the signal here for the TV. Wait a second, there we go. Smart TV comes up, and you'll notice that the
How would I describe overpaying on a used car?
the sound bar comes in, and its input is D in. Let me mute this here. So now it's muted. If the sound bar does not come up with D in, or there's no lights over here on the side, then you're going to need to power on the sound bar separately from the sound bar remote, which is right here. It's this small brown one, and there's a power button up at the top. Okay? Does that make sense? I hope so for everybody. So let me go through how you would watch a movie in various different ways. So right now we're watching cable. We're on the cable box, and I can take the remote and change channels and go to different places here, and just like any remote, you're familiar with this. Now, if we want to watch the DVD, we can either change the source on the cable box remote, which is right here, right underneath the power button for the TV, and it says source. Or we can go to the actual TV remote and we can press source. And now, get it? It'll show, and there's TV. First off, TV is, there's nothing there. And it's not going to source the DVD because the DVD player is not turned on. So I just turned on the DVD player, and you'll notice it says HDMI 2 DVI. So now the DVD player is on. I could put a DVD in there and I could watch that. I could also use the remote on the DVD player to navigate to Netflix or Amazon or any of those things there. However, me personally, I prefer to use the TV to do that. So let's go back and we're going to press source on the TV, which is this button right here, source. And we're going to go over to HDMI 1. There we're on HDMI 1. Now we're watching cable. So on the TV remote, you'll see a thing right above the little toggle switch. It says Smart Hub. See it there, Smart Hub in the middle? Okay. I'm going to press Smart Hub. And now I have my choices of Amazon Prime, Hulu, and Netflix. And so I can go between those. One comment I would make to you on these, if you log into your Netflix account or your Amazon Prime account, make sure you log off before you leave. I don't think anyone can charge to your account, but it's probably just a good idea. So those are all the ways to use the TV inputs. Let's talk about the soundbar source inputs. The small remote here is for the soundbar. And as I said earlier, it should come up with D-in, that's digital input. So sound is coming digitally from the TV to the soundbar. However, that's not to say somebody might have messed with this and changed its input. And if you look at the remote here, up here at the top, there's an input button, and you can press this, and that mutes it and goes to, now we're on aux, now we're on HDMI, now we're on BT, which stands for Bluetooth, and now we're on USB, because you can put a USB stick in there and play something, and now we're back to digital in. You want to always make sure to watch TV during digital in. You can, however, use the soundbar, if you want, to pair to your phone. I prefer that you don't do that just because I would hope that for the next people, they don't have to go through the whole hassle of changing the input to the soundbar. Also, if you want to listen to music, there are about 50 channels way down at the bottom. Everything from hip hop and rock and classical and jazz and whatever. So there's kind of like a radio station. There's that to listen to, and that's probably the best way to do it. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. If you have any problems, you can always call me as well at my house. You have my cell phone number. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.